Hey Pokemon Masters, PokePatrol here, back again with another Pokemon theory. You know, I just started this new series where I'm looking back at old Pokemon theories from like 5 years ago and seeing how they hold up today, and so far, the first one, well, it's about a Moor shipping and how that meant the end of Pokemon, so you all know how that went. I do recommend you check out that video. I'll leave it accidentally linked below. However, I'm hoping this theory is going to hold up just a little bit better. For one, I think there's a lot of good evidence in the lore of Pokemon to kind of support this. But number two, Diamond and Pearl remakes just are what we're expecting next. After the Isle of Armor, after the Crown Tundra, Diamond and Pearl, it makes sense to revisit the Sinnoh region in some way, whether it's sequels or Let's Go games or just something. Sinnoh is next. But look, you've seen the title, you've seen the thumbnail, so it's time to talk about how exactly Eternatus and Arceus could be related and what the deal is there. And of course, you have to let me know what you think about this theory in the comments. And thank you to all of you, by the way, who are watching the video, seeing them all the way through, checking out my other Pokemon theories, checking out my other videos. It all helps the YouTube algorithm push my videos out, and it just means more people will get to see them, and I get to keep making them, and I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, so thank you. Seriously, really appreciate it. I will try and come up with more theories as well. I know you all really like them. So, here is this one. So, this kind of first, I guess I first really started thinking about this for two reasons. One is that when it comes to Zacian and Zamazenta, Eternatus just doesn't fit. Like, what's Eternatus really got to do with Zacian and Zamazenta? The heroes of legend, they used Zacian and Zamazenta to fight an ancient Eternatus, or perhaps just Dynamax Pokemon in general to stop the Darkest Day. They never really fought Eternatus properly in the ancient days. I don't think that's the case. Judging on the room where you find Eternatus in Pokemon Sword and Shield, it looks like it's recently broken out of this egg-like container, where Chairman Rose has been draining it, using its power to fuel the Galar region. Eternatus comes from space. Zacian and Zamazenta are just inherently part of the Galar region. They're from the Slumbering Well. And Eternatus. A name like Eternatus implies a kind of godliness to it. Eternatus, eternal. It's been there since the beginning. Since the beginning of time. And its Gigantamax form is like one of, if not the biggest Pokemon ever. This giant, dark hand that seems to twist time and space around it, showing you different parts of the region. This Pokemon is so ridiculously powerful that you have to get it down to 1 HP before you're even allowed to catch it. Not like some other Pokemon I know. Arceus, you godly Pokemon. Okay, so Eternatus is clearly strong, and it doesn't necessarily fit in with the world of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I am expecting Diamond and Pearl remakes next. So how does Eternatus fit into that? Well, the first little bit of evidence that I want to draw you to, the first thing that you need to know, is that Eternatus becomes its Eternamax form, its Gigantamax form, by channeling Gigantamax energy that flows all throughout the region. It causes Pokemon to Dynamax. It's what you find in raid dens. It's that red beam that shoots up into the sky. And it's very similar, if not basically the exact same thing, as Infinity Energy. The concept of Infinity Energy goes back to Pokemon X and Y, where it was introduced. It then expanded further into Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It's very similar to Gigantamax Pokemon and Gigantamax Energy. Infinity Energy is the energy fired off by the ultimate weapon, by AZ. AZ is a giant because he's lived for so long and been exposed to this energy. It's the same energy that allows Pokemon to mega evolve, and in the primal days, this energy just used to flow throughout the Pokemon universe, causing primal reversion for Groudon and Kyogre. This is the same energy that was harnessed by the Devon Corporation and used in technologies like Pokeballs. And one of the things one of my lovely viewers drew my attention to, and thank you very much for that, is that the red beams that shoot out of Pokeballs that allow the Pokemon to come out, they are very similar to the red beams of light that shoot up out of the ground where there is a raid den, where there is a Dynamax Pokemon. Infinity Energy is the life force of Pokemon, the life essence of Pokemon. There's some very dark theories about the Devon Corporation and how experimentation on Infinity Energy led to the death of a number of Pokemon and actually is what caused the Spiritomb to appear in New Sea Marvel. There's loads of theories about that, and back in the Sinnoh myths that you can find in the Canalive library, we hear about how Arceus came from an egg that just contained an original spirit, an original essence This is the life force of everything. It's very easy to see the relationship there between that and infinity energy. And again, Gigantamax energy, Dynamax energy. Again, it is the overflowing of that energy that causes Eternamax to kind of warp space and time around it. Probably one of the reasons that you can't throw a Pokeball at it until it's basically knocked out. And warping space and time, again, that very ties in to the origins of the Pokemon world, because Arceus, as we all know, created Dialga and Palkia. Arceus is said to not necessarily be a god, but perhaps to be what is left of that god. That if the original egg contained Arceus and then the life force, the life essence of all Pokemon, then it would be that energy, perhaps a Mega Evolution or a Gigantamax form of Arceus that would really be a divine Pokemon. Arceus is just the remnants, the leftovers. Interestingly enough, Arceus does have ties to the Galar region. You can find only one of its plates in the Galar region, that being the Pixie Plate, Fairy type, called strong against a Pokemon like Eternatus. And by the way, those very plates, you can find information about them through playing Diamond and Pearl, and one of them talks about how the plates were made up of slain giants, Gigantamax Pokemon. The ties are all there. But then what does that make Eternatus? If Arceus is God, or what's left of a god, within the world of Pokemon, and Dialga and Palkia are kind of these time and space beings that are made under it, Giratina dealing with the reverse world, and Azelf, Uxie, and Mesprit dealing with the lakes and with balance and order in the Pokemon world. What is Eternatus? A Pokemon where, according to the Sinnoh myths, you can see the parallels here. Arceus within an egg filled with energy, Eternatus within an orb egg filled with energy that's being used by Chairman Rose. They are so similar. So what is it? What is Eternatus to Arceus? Is it like the Pokemon version of Satan? A devil? A demon? Well, no, really Giratina is that. But perhaps Eternatus is something different. Maybe, like I mentioned earlier, Arceus is just what's left of the creator of the Pokemon universe. We already know Arceus is separated into parts. You find its plates all over the Pokemon world. We know that it used to kind of wield this great energy that was part of it. And if Diamond and Pearl remakes are coming, just like how there's a Deoxys event at the end of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, a mythical event, you can bet there's going to be an Arceus event on the top of Spear Pillar to make up for the one that we never got through distribution. With, yeah, probably a Dynamaxed or even Eternamaxed version of Arceus. And I think that's where we'll find the real truth. Because there is one other bit of evidence that really interests me. A Pokedex entry about Arceus, talking about how it made the universe with its 1,000 hands. That's how it created and shaped the world. Now, we've seen theories talking about the unknown and how its 1,000 hands are probably the unknown helping it shape the universe. And you kind of see that in the Sinjoh Ruins event, where Arceus creates, with the help of the unknown, a Giratina, Dialga, or Palkia egg, depending on where you stand on the platform. And the unknown definitely are very powerful and have something to do with the origins of the Pokemon universe, and we know that they're givers of life. In Pokemon Crystal, it's heavily suggested that it was them, collectively with the power of Ho-Oh, that helped create at least Suicune out of the legendary beasts. That's only really in Pokemon Crystal. In Gold, Silver, and Gold and Soul Silver, it's just Ho-Oh using its revival powers. But we know the unknown have the ability to influence life, and yeah, the unknown would act as could act as a bigger part of Arceus. But they're not its many hands, they're its many eyes. They help it see the universe. But we do have a Pokemon that could resemble one of its 1,000 hands, Eternatus, in its Eternamax form. Eternatus is very skeletal in nature. I don't know if you've noticed just looking at its design, it kind of resembles this skeleton with this big cannon in it that contains, of course, Eternamax energy, Dynamax, Gigantamax, Max energy. And so I guess this is my theory. This is where my theory and my hypothesis comes in here. What if Eternatus is one of Arceus' 1,000 hands that for whatever reason didn't hatch from its egg, that instead fell to the Pokemon world, causing the darkest day? With its overflow of energy, all of the Pokemon of Galar turned into Dynamax Pokemon, which caused them to rampage and caused the darkest day to happen. Ultimately, the twin heroes managed to stop them with Zacian and Zamazenta, and they hid the egg away, the orb, deep under the castle of Hammerlock, where eventually, one day, Chairman Rose would dig it up. And with this egg not hatching like the rest of Arceus' hands that were presumably out there helping to create the universe, it's kind of turned bad. And Chairman Rose plugs in all of these tubes into the egg, draining it for power and powering up the Galar region. And then, one day, he decides to awaken it, to hatch the egg and reveal the Pokemon, the skeletal Pokemon that's left inside. Eternatus, a Pokemon that does not look how it should anymore. I'd be really interested to see if there is a Gigantamax version of Arceus that resembles a giant white hand. That could be pretty interesting. Or even if its Gigantamax form looks like it just has anything to do with Eternatus at all. It'll be very interesting to see. Again, Eternatus' Gigantamax form has the ability to warp time and space. It appears in an orb. The orb is drained of energy, which is basically the same as infinity energy. And energy like that is the life force of Pokemon, which is talked about in the Sinnoh myths, coming from an egg that is like Arceus's. Arceus has the 1,000 hands. It's a giant hand. To me, this theory makes sense. But I want to know what you think, of course, in the comments. You're going to have to let me know. Thank you to all of you commenting for helping push these videos with the YouTube algorithm. It just really helps out, and it's nice to see my videos out there in the world. Thank you for letting me do what I do. You are all absolutely wonderful. Let me know if you have any thoughts on this theory, or if you have any other theories of your own in the comments. And of course, soar high, Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master!
And a massive thank you to those of you supporting me on Patreon, including the big patrons of the month, the Nerd Therapist and Gunnar Clovis. Thank you.